Alright, if you're new to our channel, I'm RB, the Tractor Man, and this is our new workshop that we just recently got moved into, and we've already brought through one piece of equipment, and it's time now to bring in some more to work on. I'm in California, Northern California, and it is blistering hot right now. We're going through a heat wave, so it's really difficult to work in the middle of the day, and unfortunately that's when I have a lot of time available now. So trying to make the best of it. Trying to get the shop allocated in the morning, then when it gets hot, go in and do other things, and then come back out. So right now it's like almost 7:30 at night, and the sun's just going down to where there's room, or it's not so bad. It's still pretty hot and stagnant, but we got to get going on some stuff. So yeah, can't be winter year round, darn it. Anyways, so let me show you what I want to bring in the shop and get reworked, and I'll kind of explain it as we go ahead and go for a ride here, or a walk. So a couple weeks ago, I drug home this unit here from our friend's house, and I really need to get it going. So this is a 6,500 kilowatt generator, and as you can see, it's on wheels, and the idea is that this would be really good to have when we lose power here, because we are in California now, and they do turn off the power from time to time. So yeah, want to get that drug into the shop, and don't know a whole lot about it. I know a couple people have tried to get it going, and there's some wiring issues on it, so we got to get that figured out. So should be a fun project. Alright, and for our next project, being that we are in fire country, and as you can see, the ground is dry, just completely dry. So we like to make sure we have pumps ready in case if a fire breaks out, we can protect our land, our structures. And so in my little buggy here, I do have a Honda pump, and there's not a whole lot with it. I think it needs a good tune-up. It's not in bad shape, but I do want to make sure it's ready and ready to go, because the last thing you want to do is work on a piece of equipment when there's a fire in your back door and you don't have a whole lot of time. So I'd like to get that thrown in the shop. Get that going. So a couple other things, and I don't think we're going to move this piece into the shop tonight. I think I got 3 pieces that I need to get going and out of the way first, but I do have another project going on that I've started filming video on, and I haven't gotten back to it, and I'd really like to try to get back to it. So, and that'd be over here. Yeah, tons of stuff. It's all around. Alright, so this is the, I had called it an 8-in before, and a YouTube subscriber did correct me on that, and this is actually a 2-in, and I apologize for that difference. So, get educated here. Here's the biggest difference. The 8-in will have a side mount here for the oil unit, and the 2-in has this unit here. So that's one way you can tell on these real quick. And I believe that this is also a smaller footprint, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, so we've worked on this, and I think it's got distributor issues. And if we remember, this one has the front mount distributor, and it's really a pain to get to. So what I need to do is I really need to unbolt that distributor, get it on the counter so we can go through it, get it cleaned and put back in. That's the easiest way to do this one. So do need to do that. What else we got? Alright, so we got the Ford Jubilee here, and this is another tractor that I got going a couple months ago, and it's a great little running machine. The one thing that it doesn't do well is when we first started it, the PTO was engaged, and we disengaged it, and now we can't get it to go back in. The lever is jammed up in there, and from what I read, it's very common. Things get worn in there, and it's like the lever slips too far back, and then it won't engage. So I'm going to need to tear into that and figure out if we can get that going. Ideally, this machine would be great to have the brush hog behind here when we're able to do brush hogging again. So I do want to get the PTO going on it. So we got that. So as you can see with this one, the wheel is trash. I think the other one may be holding air. Nope, it's dead too. So this needs a set of wheels, or tires, so we'll be having to do that here down the road. I brought this home home. I brought this unit home a couple weeks ago as well, and it's a 9N. And so this is a project for somebody. I don't know that we're going to tackle it, but I wouldn't be against going ahead and getting it running. My goal is I'm going to put out some emails and see if I got anybody interested in wanting to come and do some shop time, and we'll see if we can't get this in the shop and kind of go through it. I'd really like to wash it before it goes in there, but we'll see what happens. Get this stuff cleaned up. So yeah, so just a few things here. There's always so much to do. So the last piece that I need to get going, and I need to get it stable quick, is this compressor here. So I usually keep this compressor in my truck. It's a great little compressor and not too terribly heavy, so if I had to remove it from my truck I could. But I think it's got carburetor issues. It sat for a long time. This was actually one of our products in our rental yard, and we upgraded, and these weren't worth going to auction. So I think we threw away 8 of these units, and I saved this one. I think I saved another one too. I can't remember what we did with it. But anyway, so this one, the carburetor seems like it's gumped up. Hondas are really good running engines, and I've had it running, but then it sits, and then it's like the carburetor just doesn't know what to do again. So I want to go into that one as well, figure out what's up. And then on this as well, I think I have a tank that has a hole in it where the foot leg is at. So eventually, if I can get this to run stable and everything, I will probably need to either replace tanks or pull the tanks off and do a little welding on them and seal them up again. I'm not too worried about it. It doesn't generate a whole lot of compression, and it is in the back of my truck, so if it seeps off, not a big deal. And honestly, the only reason I'd want to have that fixed is because I like being a turkey, and I think it'd be really fun to get a really obnoxious loud air horn and have it plumbed into this, and that way if I'm on the road and I need an extra horn because maybe somebody's doing something they shouldn't be doing, it'd be fun to just pull that lever and let her rip. So, you know, yeah, I might get it fixed. We'll see. So anyways, we got shop space here, and we need to allocate it. So I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and hop on the Kubota and maybe go ahead and bring in that generator first, and then grab that pump and bring it in. And I think I'm going to move this table around and set the pump on it so that way we can go through it real quick. Alright, it looks like this is going to be number 1 tonight. We'll go ahead and get this cleaned up. A lot of spider webs and stuff on it. And then we will see what the oil looks like and tear into it. Check the feel, see if the feel's good or rotten or what. Hopefully it's got premium in it. It's a Honda engine, so they tend to be really good engines. Okay, so I've got the spider webs off of it, and I went to pull the handle, and it is stiff. So, show you why that is. So if you look, you pull the dipstick out, Look at that. All the liquid's completely full. So this is what you call hydrolock. So what's happened is the fuel wasn't turned off, and with the heat and stuff, it forces the fuel actually through the unit. It contaminates the oil, and there's just absolutely no room. There's so much oil and stuff on top of that piston that it just can't go one way or the other. So had this happen quite a bit in the rental industry. That is one of the disadvantages to these engines, but you know what? They all do it. It's just the way that this one tends to be. I've seen, it seems like I've had more Hondas do this than Briggs & Stratton, but the thing is Briggs & Stratton tends to use plastic parts in the carburetor, so it's a trade-off. So what we're going to do is I got to go ahead and drain the fluid out of this. We'll go ahead and get all the fluid out. I'm going to pull the plug, get whatever's in there out, and we'll take a look at the carburetor as well, and probably go ahead and remove the fuel as well, because at this point, if the fuel seeped through it there, that means that the fuel has probably been contaminated as well. You know, the better part of the fuel is settled down through the unit, so the top part's probably just tainted fuel. We can test it out by going like this. Yeah, it's foul. So, okay, so there we are. That's what we're gonna do. Let me get some tools and figure out the best way to get the oil out of this thing. Okay, I got the plug pulled on this thing, and boy does it stink. It smells like gear oil. So yeah, we're going to drain that. I'm going to go ahead and drain that fuel tank as well, and start fresh. Nasty stuff came out, so I thought, okay, well, I'm going to remove the carburetor. Well, this is really a stupid design, Honda. Can't remove the carburetor without removing the engine on this thing. Come on. We're our engineers these days. Alright, I'm tired of giving you a hard time. Okay, so I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and remove the spark plug. So I got the spark plug removed. Look at that. That is just nasty. Let's see if I can get it to focus here. So, yeah, rust at the tip of the spark plug. Obviously, draining the fuel right now. So this is the fuel, and like I said, it doesn't smell very good, and it almost it has a consistency of like there's water in it. I'm not seeing any water, and I should have had a cleaner dish. This is my fuel inspection dish, and I didn't clean it last time. But the fuel is definitely bad, so we'll get that out of the tank. Then I think what we're going to have to do on this one is I'm going to need to run some Seafoam or Marvel's Mystery in this unit. So I think what we're going to do is I'm going to pump some Marvels into the cylinder, and we'll let it sit and see if we can break it loose, because it still is not turning over. So yeah, so just a quick deal. This is important. Why? When you have small engines, rather it be generators, pumps, lawnmowers, weed eaters, you know, any of the small engines, always, you know, take care of them. Don't leave them out in the weather. You leave them out in the weather, water gets into the fuel system, or the fuel deteriorates in the carburetor, and you're not going to start that unit up again. So this one has obviously been left outside. No fault to anyone in particular. Just this is what happens. So this is a nice unit. I'm hoping we can save it. I'm hoping the cylinder walls aren't damaged, because it's that new of a unit. So yeah, so this is 90% of my business of what I do in small engine world is, hey, I can't get my mower started. Okay, well, what fuel did you use in it? Did you drain the fuel out this winter? Those kind of things. So we'll be doing a lot more of these on the channel. I've got like 8 units lined up right now to come through, and I think we'll be doing quite a bit of this particular procedure right here. Okay, so I went out and got the Marvels out of the shed. I really need to keep it in here. Haven't used it in a while. Let's see if we can. There we go. Okay. Okay, so that's interesting. It's coming out the carburetor side. So the valve cover Okay. So I'm guessing that the cylinder isn't, it's maybe not completely top dead center, but maybe down just a little bit. So, which is good. Means we should have a fair chance of breaking it free. Yeah, everything's just so nasty on this thing. Move the screen. The fuel tank looks good. It's just got some kind of watery feel on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of that seafoam or the marbles into the fill hole where you check the dipstick. Yeah, there we go. I'm flushing out. It's got nasty stuff. Holy moly. Nasty, nasty stuff coming out. Sludge type stuff out of the engine. It's not good. Wow. Alright guys, we may have been off more than we can chew with this one, but we'll see if we can get her freed up. Let me show you what's coming out here. We'll just grab this other camera. Look at that. So that's all slum that's coming out. Let's pump some more in there. See, the stuff just keeps on coming out. Okay. Definitely been sitting outside. But we're going to give it our best try. That's all we can do. I'm going to go ahead and remove the plug off this side as well. Usually you don't have to do that. The reason I'm going to do this is because there's so much crap coming off that other side. So we definitely want to get rid of whatever is in the bottom of the crankcase. Yeah, look what's coming out there. The same thing on that one. So what we'll do, I'm going to stick the tube in this end at the bottom. Look at that. Wow. And we're out of marbles. But you know what, guys? I've had this thing of marbles forever. So I can't complain. We'll just get another thing of it. It's been a great source to have. Definitely, I know that we want to have a clean crankcase. Alright guys, so I thought it'd be kind of fun to pull up the end scope and we could take a look down on the cylinder and see what's going on. So we can see the top of the piston, and like I said, it's not top center, but yeah, and then it's right where it's going to interact with the, if you put too much fluid in, it's going to go through the valve body, so the valves might be stuck open. Yeah, so I think I'm going to go ahead and pull the valve body off the side of the unit, and we can inspect that and see what's going on there. Okay, so I pulled off the valve cover. And as I suspected, it looks like that intake valve is pressed in, so that is why the fluid ran out the carburetor. So I hate doing it. I really didn't want to set the gap in these, but I need to. This one is loose, terribly loose. I think that's a bit excessive. So this probably hasn't been maintained. I think after 100 hours or something, you're supposed to adjust the valves, the valve lashing. So I'm going to go ahead and back these out all the ways so that valve can drop back, hopefully. If it rusts in place, then we know we've got more issues. But I think if I can close those, I'd really like to fill that cylinder full of the marbles, whatever I have left there. So yeah, let me go ahead and back those out. Okay, so I got the rockers removed, and this valve is definitely in. So it's frozen in place. I'm hoping I can break it loose. I'm just going to kind of tap on it a little bit and see if I can work it back and forth, get it to bounce. Okay, success. I was able to tap on it. I just used my little shop hammer and my punch, and I just kind of, I didn't go to town on it, but I just kind of tapped on them, and now they both are free. So, feel really good now. Yeah, and they were definitely hung up in there. So that's a good thing. We might just try to pull it and see what it does. Yeah, it's still jammed up inside the cylinder wall, but now that we have the valves closed, let's go ahead and fill that cylinder full of marbles. Okay, so the good news is that I filled the cylinder completely full of that stuff, and just in 2 minutes time, it's gone down. So it means it is getting around the rings, which is very hopeful there. So I'm very happy with that. So we should be able to break this loose. Now the other thing is with water pumps, it's very, very important at winter to drain them completely. Pull this plug out as well as the top one, because the turbines will freeze up inside of them, or the turbine inside there. And if that freezes in place or anything like that, then we're going to be fighting that, trying to get this thing freed up. So I don't think that's the case with this one. The plug at the bottom was loose, so it's completely dry. There's no moisture in there. So I'm hoping it's just an engine issue, and hopefully we can find out here in just a little bit what's going on. The other thing I might try is getting a smaller awl and get it down in that cylinder and see if we can't tap the piston loose. So we might try that too. Okay, I think I've done about as much as I can do with this tonight. We're just going to let it sit here and soak. I got the cylinder full of stuff. So yeah, we'll see what that does. Now, what we'll probably end up doing is going ahead and pulling the recoil off and get down to the nut. And then that way I can put a socket on it with a breaker bar and kind of just pound it back and forth a little bit. And that that'll determine how bad this unit is. We should be able to get it to move that way. If it doesn't move, the next process is going to have to be probably to go ahead and remove the pump, get down to the drive shaft, and see if that is there, see if the pump is jammed up. But I really suspect it's the engine. Everything's pointing towards the engine, with the spark plug tip being just nasty and stuff like that. Obviously, it's had moisture in there. So I think there's still hope for it here. Yeah, we'll go at that. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to shift now. We're going to jump gears. Like I said, I wanted to work on this, but I'd really like to kind of have room on my table when I take that carburetor apart. So I think I'm just going to move this out of the way. Job I have tomorrow, I'm not needing it, so that'll be good. So I think what I want to do is go ahead and get the covers off this thing, the sides of this thing, and I'll show you why. So in here is the generator, okay? But I think I need to be able to get to the back side of that and at least have light, so that way I can inspect it and kind of start tracing out cables and figure out what's going on, because we've got us a rat nest here. And there's got to be a lead that isn't making contact. We've got electric fuel pump here that's going down into the tank, so that should be easy. We got negative terminal for battery, got the solenoid, so we should be able to step through this. But I think removing the side cover and the back cover, that'll just give us that much more access, make it easier to get in here. So yeah, I think that's what we're going to do, shift gears and do that tonight, and then we'll be in good shape. We can see where we're at with that. Alright, with a little bit of effort, I got the side and back cover removed off this, which is good, because now we can get in here and see what's up. We can find things like this. See how that wire's not in straight? Yeah, so that's obviously not the right wire for it, so wow. Okay, and then the top part, looks like we've got some kind of a relay up there. So yeah, we'll be able to step through this now, get things figured out, get it going the way it's supposed to be again. So, yeah, we got a wire here, which obviously was supposed to go there, and it's just it's too tight and got pulled out. So I just don't see any other terminal in there. So yeah, we're just gonna go through this and see what we can do, see if we can get it cranked over, and yeah, I guess that's where we'll start. Okay, I've kind of looked at this rat mess here, and I'm thinking it's going to be easy. It's just to step through it one by one, take off the stuff that's not necessary, and try to get this thing to at least turn over. So I think first thing is I'm going to try to pull this cap off here. I think that there's just 3, maybe 5 screws holding it down. We can get inside of here and see what's going on. We've got a bunch of wires running back here. I'm not sure what this one does. This is running over to the control box here, which has a breaker in it. It's just a mess. So I think we're going to get it down to where first off we can get this thing started, but then we can start wiring things back in for all the different plugs and stuff. It's not making much sense here. So yeah, I think that's what we're at. I'm going to take this cover off first and kind of expose and see what's in there. Alright, and the rat tail mess begins. Lots of stuff in here. Somebody's obviously been in here labeling everything. So, yeah. Back to the basics, man. And then this is an added box here. Somebody basically broke it away from the power source coming out here down to the breaker there. So yeah, that's what we're just going to have to do is step through it. Not afraid. Let's do it. Alright guys, so I definitely got the load lightened here. Yeah, so I got all that off. So this is what we pulled off. Got the control box, which is just wires going everywhere. It's got an electric jack on it. I don't think I'll be keeping that on there. And then the distributor, kind of an interesting thing. So there was this cover on top of the engine, and then there was a set of points on the outside here, where they went to, right here, condenser, right? So on top of the engine is points. So my suspicion is what's notorious with these Onans is the points will overheat, and then the engine will start, misfiring and stuff. So I think that's probably what was going on. So somebody just added an external point or an external condenser and rigged it up there. So I went ahead and took that off. We're going to get this thing back to the way it's supposed to be because I can get a wiring diagram for that. And then we should be able to get it running. And if we need to make changes then we'll do it. But it's just, it was obvious that there was just years of people working on this thing and adding something to it. Lots of extra stuff that wasn't needed. So, yeah, so we're back down to nothing now. And we're just going to step right on through it. That's the easiest way when you get into a situation like this and you're not sure what the electrical is. And then there's things like the fuel pump. Obviously, they have to pump it up from the tank, so we'll get that rigged back up, build fuel pressure, and yeah. So, okay, well, I think that's it for tonight. I'm a little tired. I need to go in and cook some dinner. Made good use of this evening. What we'll do next, probably tomorrow, is, like I said, we'll probably go ahead and pull the shroud off of this thing, the recoil, and get a socket on it and see if we can bust it loose. I see more fluid loose here, so yeah, I suspect it is making it through now, which is good, but it still has a rough spot. So, alrighty, so we'll do.
Alright guys, we're back to working on this. This is the next day. Boy, it's hot out here. I apologize for the noise. I've got my swamp cooler going and a fan going out here. Get some air circulating, so that way we can get out here and work. I should probably just go take a nap and come out and work later, but I really would like to get this thing freed up. So here we go. Let's do it. Okay, let's see what this does. Okay. Here's the tough spot. Guys, we got this unit free. Okay. Okay, so I want to run it through just a few times. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to hook up my drill and get it spinning really fast, get all the fluid out of the cylinder. Okay, all right. That'll work. Happy with that. Thing's going to smoke a little bit when we first get it started, but I'm okay with that. Valves are all free. Okay. All right, so we're all free now. I'm happy with that. So the next step is we can go ahead and put the recoiler back on. I'm going to go ahead and put the carburetor back together, find the spark plug, and we'll kind of go with that. I was debating, I got just a little bit of stuff left down in the fuel tank. What have we got? 2 bolts holding it down. Yeah, 3 bolts holding it down. 4 bolts. Oh, they've redone the design on this thing. So it looks like 3 bolts. I think I'll just tilt it upside down and we can get whatever fuel out of it we can. Sounds like a good plan. All right, I went ahead and got the valves back in, or the push rods. So there's a little play in there. I might have to open it back up, but I think that's about where it was. Maybe a little bit tighter. Don't want to over tighten it because then we won't have no compression. So, yeah. So I think the next step is going ahead and putting the valve cover back on. Right here. We'll come back through and tighten those up. Go ahead and put this tube on so I don't forget it. Okay. We can go ahead and cinch this one up. Carburetor. Honda engines are really not that hard to work on. Okay. Not bad. Go ahead and do the recoil. Okay, so that's it there. I'll grab my ratchet and get all those tightened back down. Not a whole lot to it. We'll get the fuel line put on next. And yeah, we're just kind of piecing it back together. Alright guys, so we're getting down to the end on this. I need to put oil in it and then put some fuel in it. So I've got it all put back together. New spark plug. And so yeah, I think that's where we're at. I want to put some fuel in it. I've got the fuel valve actually turned off right now. And so I'll put fuel in it. I'm going to run some fuel out the bottom of the bowl just to get any of the marbles out of it that I can. And then once I start seeing good fuel come out, we'll go ahead and plug it up, and we should be good at that point. So yeah, let me go ahead and get the oil put in, and yeah. All right, guys, I've been fighting with this for about an hour. Reset the valves yet again, and pulled the bowl off the carburetor. There was a bunch of gunk in the carburetor. I still can't get it to fire. It's got good spark. It's wanting to try, but the thing is I can't get it to flood out. If I get to flood out, then I know the carburetor is working. So I I think the thing to do with this is I'm going to have to unbolt the engine so I can turn it sideways so I can remove the carburetor. So that's our next step. Guess I'll get to it.
Alright, so we got the carburetor off of there. And as you can see, there is rust inside the engine. Here's the front baffle. And then here's the carburetor. I knew something wasn't right. So, yeah, we got some severe dirt in the carburetor. I got two options. I'm definitely going to try to clean this. But if I'm not mistaken, I think I have a brand new carburetor. I worked on a 3 horsepower Honda a few years ago, and I think I ordered one. So I'm going to check and see if I've got one. Alright, so it turns out the ones that I have is for Briggs & Stratton, and then I got one for Kawasaki, I believe it is. Yep. So this thing's going to have to be gone through. Guess I'll go ahead and do that. Alright, so I got the carburetor cleaned and put back on, and I'm still not having any luck. I'm about out of ideas on this one, so I thought, well, I better go ahead and put a compression on it. Let's see what the compression is. Maybe something is screwed up on this engine. So we're just above 25 psi. So I need to see what the spec is for this. Alright, well, the internet is saying that this thing should have 70 to 100 psi compression. I've got 25. Okay, so I think that's as far as I'm going to be able to go right now. We're going to have to do some research on this and figure out why it doesn't have compression. It could be the valve timing, but it still doesn't seem right. So I think what we'll do is the next step would be to take the valve guides back off, or the compressors, take the valve train off, and then that way the valves can't open and close, and put the compression tester on there and see if that makes any difference. If it does, then that means that it's still not timed right, or that the valve gapping isn't right. I've tried and tried and tried, so I don't know what I could be doing wrong. Frustrating. So yeah, I think it's time to put this on hold for just a moment. Alright guys, I've taken a little bit of a break on this thing and got to thinking, and you know what, I think that carburetor still has some issues in it. So I went ahead and ordered a carburetor for this. It'll be here in a couple days. So we'll give that a try. The low compression, it really doesn't concern me. I mean, it is a little low, but man, we did soak the heck out of it. So the cylinder walls could still have a good coating of marbles on them. So I think if we put a new carburetor on this and get it started, I think it'll run for a little bit and then burn its way in. So I think that's the plan with that. So I'm done with that. I think I want to jump back over to this thing tonight, do some electrical work on it. So we'll go ahead and progress on with that. So I came out to get some tools out of my truck, and thought we might do a little herping tonight. So check this out. So this is a gardener snake, I believe. Pretty little guy. There you go. Probably more out here. I know there's a bigger one. Found a snake skin the other day, and it was probably a good 5 feet long. So, oh well, part of being on the farm. You know, I don't mind any of those snakes being around. They don't hurt nothing. It's just the rattlesnakes that we have to worry about around here, and I haven't seen any up here at the farm. So, all right.
Alright guys, so we're back on this thing tonight, and first thing I want to do is, this has some of those goofy connector ends on it, so I want to get rid of those and put some regular terminal post ends on there. So I think I'll make a couple wires, and we'll do this, and then I'd like to get the spark plug wires straightened out. We'll get those put back on there, and then see where we're at, and maybe start connecting things, crucial things, to be able to get the engine to run. So yeah, let's start with that. Let's get these cut off and put some good ends on it. All right, we've got the new ends put on here. Let's go ahead and get these lines installed. All right, next thing I want to address is the spark plug wires. These, I don't know if someone's made these or what. I mean, they look original, but they got some issues. So I think they're the fiber lines, and we had learned a couple videos back how those don't always work very well. In fact, I bought all this stuff when I did the, oh man, what did we do? We did the AEH Wisconsin for the Gibson project, and then I also made lines for the old John Deere. So I think we're just going to make some new lines. We'll use these. We'll keep these as lines, but we're going to do them right. We'll get some 90 boots on them and some regular connector boots, and same length. We got the stuff. We might as well go ahead and do it. Let's get to it. We got the old lines and the new lines. So we're going to go ahead and get the distributor put on, get those lines put on, and get that stuff wired in. We will keep these, and as I was saying, this is the fiber line versus this, which has the actual metal line or strand line. So, yeah, we'll see how that works. Alright guys, it's a couple days later, and I have ordered a new carburetor for this unit. If we remember right, the carburetor was really bad shape, so I'm going to go ahead and throw a new carburetor on this. And then the compression is really low, but it may just be that because we had to soak it with the Marvel's Mystery Oil, so we won't know until we get the new carburetor on and try to get it started. It could just seep the rings again. So yeah, so that's what we'll do. We're going to get the motor off the frame here. That way we get to the carburetor, get the new carburetor on, and cross our fingers and hope that we've got a winner here. All right, so I think we get the moment of truth here. New carburetor is installed, and let's see what it does. Let's go back halfway. Wheels on, chokes on. Alright, I turned the fuel off, let it die out here. Obviously it's running rough. The way it's pulsing, I'm almost thinking the governor is set up a certain way for this pump. I'm betting that if it had water going through it, it would balance out, because that's typically how the pumps want to work, is get that good prime suction going on. So I think it's going good. I'm happy with it. It's running. I think, let's see, I don't have my compression tester. I'll have to go back through and test the compression again and see if, now that it's ran, if it freed up the compression, if we got it any higher than 25 psi. Should be in the neighborhood of 70 to 100. So let's check that off the list. All right, so this is the next Honda I need to work on. This is the big brother to the pump engine. Pump engine is a GX120. This is a GX160. And I believe on this one, because it's sat with fuel in the carburetor, I believe the carburetor is just gunked up. I've had it running, but it didn't run very good. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out the carburetor and clean it, put a new air cleaner on it, and that should be good. I actually use this compressor in the back of my truck for when I'm not doing service calls. So I need to get it going again. Okay, so I got the carburetor off. A couple things I noticed right away. The fuel line looks like it's separated. Just a rubber tube line. So I'm going to go ahead and replace that fuel line. And then the carburetor does feel gunky. So we'll go ahead and separate it here. See what the bowl looks like. Yeah. Got some fuel. So let me go ahead and break the carburetor in two here. Go ahead and drain the fuel out of it. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, it's got a little bit of sediment at the bottom of it. Let's go ahead and break her apart here. Well, it looks good. Yeah, it's got some gunk inside of it. Okay, not a big deal. Go through it. Then I don't know if you could see, but bottom of the carburetor here, let's see, it's just plastered with gunk. So, yeah, candidate for good cleaning. If we have to get another replacement carburetor, we get another replacement carburetor. So this is why it's always important to maintain your equipment, run good fuel, and always run the fuel out completely. Yeah. Okay, well I'm going to go ahead and strip this one down all the way and start getting it cleaned up. So that's what we'll do. Alright, so I went through the carburetor, got it all cleaned up and rebuilt. It's good to go. We've got a new air cleaner. That's good to go. What I'm doing now, if I can wiggle you guys around here, I am draining the fuel and going to be replacing the fuel line. It is definitely time to replace it, so get all the fuel out and feed a new line through. I may have to remove the shroud in order to do that. It's been a while since I've replaced one. Seems like it's got to come off so I can get routed correctly. So yeah, that's what we got going on. Alright, as you can hear, I got it put back together and started right up. So we're done with that project. Let's go and run the fuel out of it. Alright, and there she goes. So we got another unit up and going today. So, alright, so continuing on in our series, we brought in 3 pieces of equipment in the shop to get going. We have this thing. We took the wiring out the other night, and I'd really like to get the engine turned over, so I'm going to probably hot wire it or jumper it, see if we can get it to just crank over. I want to know if that works first. I kind of suspect that maybe the solenoid may be bad with it, but I can't prove that just yet. So let me go ahead and hook up a battery pack to it and some cables. Let's see if we can get this thing to crank over. Alright, so I jumpered it up and I was able to get it to crank over just a little bit. I do think the solenoid is bad, but my jump pack is also very weak right now. So I'm charging the jump pack. I'm going to probably go ahead and drag a battery in here. Yeah, and then I need to figure out wiring. That's going to be the key thing. So let me go ahead and kind of get set up, and we're going to work on this off and on. I do have a couple other little errands I need to run today, so we may work on this a little bit later tonight.